What is up, everybody? How is it going? Austin Prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. Happy Tuesday, right? It's Tuesday? Is it Tuesday? No, today's Monday, right? Fuck, man. No, it's Tuesday. Okay, yeah, that's right. I was right. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Hope you are having a good day so far. Today, on today's live, we're going to be talking about how, realistically, how quickly can you see results in your journey, right? Because that's what people care about, right? They don't like, we want to see progress, we want to see results, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today. How quickly you can, depending on your goals. Yeah, it feels like a Monday for sure. Definitely feels like a Monday. And so, as you guys are tuning in, let me know how your day is going. You know the drill. Drop a comment in the comment section. Give this video a like so other people get a chance to see it. If you are new here, feel free. You might see there's a comment pinned in on Facebook, anyways, for our free public group. So highly encourage you guys. We are ramping that up. We're getting that more active. We're giving more value in that. So if you want a community where it's free and it's for sustainable fat loss and body recomp, so strength building and things like that too, join it. There's a link in my bio. There's a link in the chat in the comment section on Facebook. So definitely click that if you want to join. So we're ramping things up in there, which I'm excited about. We got more things planned too, which I can't talk about right now. But hey, that's what fun secrets and surprises are all about. So let's see some comments here. What's up, Brianna? How's it going? Happy Tuesday indeed. So let's talk about how quickly can you actually see results, right? Like realistically, and I want to say this realistically because, yeah, you might be able to get some results quicker if you go like a burnout route or you go like a crash diet route, but you probably won't get to keep those results. And what the hell is the point in putting in all that time and all that effort working towards your goals, right? If you don't get to keep the progress that you make. And so that's what we're talking about here. So first thing you ask yourself is like, what do results mean to you, right? What do you mean by results? Like, what the hell are your goals, right? You have to have goals in mind. You have to know what you want. You can't just say, oh, I want to make progress. Well, what do you want to make progress in? Do you care about losing weight, right? Do you care about body recomposition? Do you care about gaining muscle, getting stronger? Are you wanting to make progress towards your mindset, building routines? All these things, need to be taken into account. And so, what is your goal, right? That's the first thing you got to figure out. And so, the first thing I do want to say though is it will take longer than you think it will. Right? I just want to be realistic. I don't, I like to tell it how it is. It will take longer than you're probably thinking it will. And so expect that from the beginning, right? Don't expect to make fast results because fast results are probably going to result in a fast regaining of it or losing it or losing that progress that you made and regaining it back. Okay. So have the mindset. It's going to take longer than you think it probably will, right? It just will. But that's something that I'm very guilty of. Not necessarily in terms of progress wise, but I always assume things aren't going to take as long as they are, or I assume that I can. I forget about a lot of like the things in between that add up, and so I am definitely somebody who didn't used to be, but now I'm a little bit like chronically late all the time to things, not to like important meetings and things like that, but just like day-to-day stuff. I'm like, shit, like, I don't expect it to take that long, but yet it does. So same thing kind of applies to your journey. So, but what is your goal, right? So is your goal, so we're going to talk about, expectations, right? Of what you could expect based on what your goals are. So first one, right? If your goal is to lose weight, right? Or to lose fat, it's going to take a good rule of thumb, and I've said this before, is anywhere from half a pound to 2 pounds lost per week is a good rule of thumb. That's how much weight ideally you can expect to lose sustainably, right? And I say sustainably because if you go at a sustainable pace, you're going to be able to maintain your progress. If you're going like trying to lose like more than 2 pounds per week, one, it's not that great for your body composition. You're going to lose a lot of muscle. Two, you're going to be freaking miserable and your body's going to freak out probably. And three, you're not going to be able to maintain that long term. And guess what's going to happen when you can't maintain that? You're going to gain it all back. So doing it slower and steadier, like people who go slow and steady end up keeping their progress more often than not than the other group who just kind of go crash diet mode. because it's not as much of a shock to your system or to your lifestyle, right? It's not all in, all out. It's like gradual. And so you're slowly kind of peeling back the layers. You're slowly making progress. You're slowly making these changes to your life. And so it's not as big of a shock. You're not stacking a bunch of shit on top of yourself all of a sudden, which, can be very helpful for people if you're, going the slow and steady route. What's up, Jessica? How's it going? Hey, hey, hey. So guys, so half a pound to 2 pounds lost per week is how much weight you can expect to lose sustainably. Okay. If it's sustainable, it's maintainable, right? You can keep it off, which is great, which is what we want. Oftentimes you will lose more at the start. Like it's not unheard of for people to lose, like 3 to 5 pounds. Sometimes depending on like how overweight you are, like you can lose up to like 10 pounds even in like the first week as your body's readjusting to this new, like caloric intake and things like that you're, in your workout program and things like that. What's up, Tabby? How's it going? How's it going, girl? Yeah. And so that's what you could expect, realistically, weight loss wise, right, or fat loss wise, right? You don't want to go faster than that. You don't want to go faster than that because you're going to lose a lot of fucking muscle, and then you're not going to be happy with how you look when you reach your goals. You're going to feel like shit. You're probably going to be more prone to injury. Like it's just not a good time to try and lose that, like more than that, like consistently, right? If you have 1 week or two where you're like hell yeah, I've made some extra progress, like that's fine. But if you're like pushing for more than 2 pounds lost per week, you're doing more harm than good, and you're probably not going to be able to maintain it. So let's not do that. Half a pound, 2 pounds lost per week for weight loss or fat loss. Okay. Gaining muscle, right? How much how much muscle can you realistically gain, right? Or how much can you expect to gain in a period of time? Well, depends on how where you're at in your journey, right? Are you new? Are you a noob? Are you a newbie? Are you going to get newbie gains, right? Or have you been doing it for a long time, right? So we'll talk about newbie gains, right? So if somebody who's brand new has never strength trained in their entire life starts to work out, your body is going to rapidly adapt to the stimulus of working out, of exercise, of strength training. Your body is like, oh shit, like this is happening consistently. This is happening a lot. Like we need to adapt. We need to we need to be good at this. So it changes. It makes a rapid shift. So a lot of people in their first like year, 6 months to a year of working out, you can gain honestly, you can gain anywhere from like 5 to 10 pounds of muscle in your first year. And granted, some of that too, like you can gain more weight than that, but actual like lean body tissue and lean, body mass, you can put on, 5 to 10 pounds. Like your average person can put on around that. There is a bell curve to all this, right? So like that's your average person, right? There are people who unfortunately will not gain that much muscle. Some people may only gain 2 or 3 pounds of muscle in their first year because they have a poor genetic response. Some people who are genetic elite can gain anywhere from like 10 to 15, maybe even 20 pounds of muscle in their first year. Very unlikely, very rare. Like that's like 0.111, like 0.0001% of people out there. And yeah, I'm pulling a number out of my ass there, but there's a very, 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 very low percentage of people who can expect to see results like that. I'm pretty sure I didn't even see that much progress. I don't know. I was under eating when I was younger. Probably not really under eating. I had a very high metabolism, but I went from about 140 pounds to about 185, 190 in a span of like 3 years, probably, maybe even 4 years. But and that's because I introduced strength training. I started eating more protein. I didn't have a whole lot of muscle on my body necessarily whenever I was younger. I was quite skinny. Did I have a low body fat percentage? Yes. I didn't have a lot of muscle. So you can put on a lot of muscle in a relatively short period of time if you're new, right? If you're new to working out. If you've been doing it for a really long time, it starts to slow down after your first like 3 to 5 years of lifting. Even after that first like 6 months to a year, you can start to slow down. It will slow down quite a bit, and then you can start to expect. For me. Especially whenever I was natural. I'm on testosterone replacement therapy now, so I don't know. You can call it whatever you want. But before that, right? Before that, I could maybe, because I've been lifting for over 10 years now, expect to put on anywhere from 2-3 pounds of muscle per year, maybe 5 if I'm like fucking perfect, like perfect. My body's adapted. It's reached its, pretty close to its genetic potential. I've definitely got some room to grow in terms of my lower body, my legs, but I'm working on that, and so that's something that I could see more muscle gain in. But somebody who's just or who's been doing it for a long time, you just don't put on that much muscle, especially if you're natural. After a certain point, once you've been lifting consistently for 3, 5, maybe 5 to 7 years after that, the gains are pretty slow in terms of muscle gain. And that's just the reality of the situation. If you are not natural, right? If you were taking steroids or gear or whatever you want to call it, right? Depending on what you're taking, you can see a lot more than that. You can put on a shit ton of muscle if you're on stuff like that. If that's the route you want to go, you do you. I'm not judging, but I highly recommend if you do that. One, none of this is medical advice, but two, definitely work out naturally for at least 5, 6, 7 years of your life, please, to set a good base and get those habits and stuff in place. But just for an example, since I started testosterone replacement therapy, I have put on. I've gained about 8 pounds in just a month, which is fucking crazy. And I would say probably about half of that is water weight, is just intermuscular water weight, cellular water weight. But the other part of that is muscle. And I want to talk about why, right? And so if you have been lifting weights for a long period of time and then you quit, you can gain a lot of muscle really quickly because your body has this almost muscle memory blueprint because it's been there before, right? You can put on a lot of muscle pretty quickly if you've lost it because you did work out for a long period of time and you quit for whatever reason. You'll bounce back really quickly because your body remembers. It's almost like what's the word? Man, I can't think of it right now. But basically genetics, things that get genes that get shifted and turned on in your while you're living, while you're alive. It's not passed on and it mutates and stuff like that. It's real life, genes getting turned on and off and things like that that happens. And so your body has those turned on or on reserve, basically. So when you do start lifting weights again, if you quit for a long period of time, you'll gain a lot of muscle back pretty quickly. Me, it's kind of the case here with the testosterone replacement therapy, is where I gained a lot of basically I gained a lot of muscle back because I had that muscle in the past, but I lost a lot of that muscle because my testosterone was low and because I wasn't able to work out as hard as I used to be able, or as I used to be able to. I felt like shit all the time, and I was getting injured and things like that. And so now that I'm on it, my training's improved quite a bit. I have enough testosterone to build and maintain more muscle, and I had the muscle memory there. So that could be the case for you as well. And now, honestly, the other side of that too is now my testosterone is really fucking high normal, and so I'm going to be able to put on more muscle than somebody else who isn't at high normal. And so that's just a fact of the matter, which I don't care. I'm a-okay with that. I get to feel better, I get to look better, I get to be stronger. That's a win in my book. So but that is something that could happen. If you are somebody who hops on gear or something like that, depending on how because there's natural genetics and how your body responds to strength training and your proper nutrition and shit like that. And then there's also drug response genetics, if you guys don't know. So some people, will be some people will take gear and will not have, and it will look like shit and will not put on any muscle and will feel, and will be like, what the hell is this stuff's broken. And it's no, unfortunately you just are not a good genetic responder. And that's unfortunate. If they went through all the trouble to do that and go the illegal route and all that shit, and then it still doesn't work, sorry, that sucks to be you. Some people can put on 20, 30, 40 pounds of muscle in a single year if they hop on shit. It's just because that's the potential that is there for that. It doesn't necessarily apply to probably almost no one that I'm talking that watches my videos. That probably doesn't apply to you, but I just like to mention it because that's the reality of the situation for some people. So if you see people making claims, right? Oh, I put on 10 pounds of muscle in a week. or in like a month. It's like, no, you did not naturally anyways. And a lot of that is probably water weight, or they weighed themselves in the evening after they ate. And when they first weighed themselves before they started it, they were fasted in the morning and they didn't eat anything and all that other shit. So you got to be careful, right? You got to be careful when people make claims like that, like add 5 pounds to your butt, like like that kind of shit. It's like there's something going on there where they're manipulating things a little bit, either in terms of how truthful they're being, or they're whether it's like food or something like that, or if they're on shit, right? You just got to be careful. When you're listening and hearing these things, if it sounds too good to be true, there's probably something going on in the background that makes it really too good to be true. So that's muscle, right? Gaining muscle. That's what you could do realistically, gaining muscle wise. Getting stronger, right? If that's your goal, like how quickly can I realistically see results in getting stronger? Very quickly. You can see very, very quick results in terms of being strong, like stronger, whether you're natural or enhanced. Like either way, what happens is a lot of times as people are like, oh my gosh, like I've gotten so much stronger all of a sudden. Oh my gosh, like like they start lifting weights. They're like, holy shit, like I just keep hitting PR after PR after PR. Like I've doubled, tripled, quadrupled, quintupled, 10x my strength in these movements over the course of a couple of months, right? And why is that, right? Is it that they're gaining a shit ton of muscle and that's happening? You're gaining some muscle, especially if you're new. But what actually is happening in these situations is that your body is going through neurological adaptations, basically. So like your body is like literally like reconfiguring itself to be like significantly better at these movements, these exercises, these strength training movements. And so that's why you're getting a lot fucking stronger. Yeah, you're putting on some muscle, which is helping, but also you're having neurological adaptations. Your body's literally changing itself to be better at those movements. And then also your technique is improving, right? And so realistically, how much, strength can you hope to gain, early, like when you're first starting? A lot. You can gain a lot of strength really quickly. After the first, year or two or three, it slows down quite a bit. You'll start to notice like, man, I kind of hit this cap, and it's a slow grind to just add 5, 10, 15 pounds to your lifts. And a large majority of it, if you ever after that point want to make, larger strength gains, it's going to come down to technique. A lot of it. A lot of, if you're powerlifting or if you're like doing CrossFit or whatever it may be, a lot of your, strength gains are going to come from technique after a certain point. And that's just what's going to happen. And so I see a comment here. Yes, I've seen an insane amount of strength increase in just the last few weeks and started with you. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. You've gotten so much stronger, which is awesome. And a lot of that is in part too, in part of, from those neurologic adaptations, a lot, and from, putting your body through these movements on a regular basis, which is another reason why, that whole concept of like confusing the muscle is like bullshit, and why you shouldn't do it, and why you should try to do a lot. It's not a bad thing to try new exercises and movements and see what you like and maybe spice things up a little bit, but it's a good thing to consistently do a lot of the same exercise and a lot of the same workouts, because your body is adapting to those and it's getting good at doing those things and it's getting efficient at doing those things, so that way you can get the best results from those things, and from those movements. So that's what you could expect, strength wise. If your goal is getting stronger, you're going to be very pleasantly surprised that you're going to get a lot fucking stronger in a short period of time, because of those neurologic adaptations, and you're building muscle and you're getting better at your technique and and all that, and also probably like your a lot of it too, a lot of strength in a sense is, it does come down to mindset, right? The confidence in the movement. Like as you're coming in, you're like for me, like whenever I first started like like bench pressing or curling or doing whatever, I was like, I don't know if I can handle that weight, or like that's pretty heavy. I don't do that very often. Your confidence isn't really there. But now, like I walk into the gym and I'm like, I'm a bad motherfucker, and I go in there and I'm like, where's the biggest like weight I can lift right now? Like what can I do? Because I have that confidence. It's that mindset. And you always hear about things where it's like, oh, like you hear like a mom lifting like a car off of her child or some shit. It's like we are very, very strong. Like for our size, humans are really strong. We just don't tap into that very often due to either the situations or our mindset's not in the right place, or maybe we don't have in those situations, the moms have a shit ton of adrenaline pumping through them. So, that helps with like pain tolerance and stuff like that. But, we're really strong. Like you're probably a lot fucking stronger than you think you are. But our mindset a lot of times will set limitations on ourselves, or we'll see a huge number like, oh, like I don't think I can fucking do that, but you probably can. So just keep that in mind. And so, yeah, so strength gains, like you can see a lot really quickly, especially if you're new. Let's see. The last thing I'll say is, if your goals are mindset, right, or building habits or routines, right, for any of these things that I talked about for your goals, that takes a while. Depending on what it is, routines and habits, you can build those pretty quickly. I would say you can build just about any routine within 30 days and be consistent with it, right? You can do that in about 30 days, maybe 30 to 60 days. You can build a habit or break a habit, right? Which is great. That's awesome. In terms of mindset though, and mindset shifts, this is where it depends on the person, right? It depends on what you're working through. Depends on what you're struggling with. It depends on what your mindset is, struggling with right now. And at the end of the day, there is not a one size fit all answer. There is a good answer to helping with all of those things, and that's therapy, right? It's going to a therapist or practicing mindfulness or doing things like that can help. But honestly, at the end of the day, you can't compare one person's trauma to another person's trauma. You really can't. Some people, like, you might be struggling with like an eating disorder, or you might be struggling with, a binge eating disorder, or you might be struggling with something, and in the cause of what that could be from your childhood, or it could be from a terrible relationship you were in, or it could come from, a variety of things. And there's honestly not a one, like I said, not a one size fit all answer. And like, I think that that's just an important thing to recognize and just be empathetic, one, to other people when it comes to this shit. Two, be empathetic to yourself and be nice to yourself, and just give yourself the space to grow and give yourself the space to work on those things. Because at the end of the day, it could take years, it could take decades to work and improve your mindset and get it to a place where you're happy with it. It can happen a lot fucking quicker if you go to therapy. It can happen a lot quicker if you surround yourself with good people and in the right environment, and get in a good program that can help with those things, whether that's, like a fitness program or a nutrition program, or, or like maybe like a life coach thing potentially, or like a therapist. Like, those things are going to help vastly. Those things are going to help tremendously because they're going to give you structure. They're going to give you the space and time to actually focus and work on those things and take the time out of your day to do it and to work on those things. Because that's the issue, is a lot of times we don't work on those things consistently and we just kind of brush it off because we're just trying to like survive the day to day. But if you set time aside to work on those things mindfully, or go to a therapist or whatever it may be, it's going to happen a lot quicker. But again, if it's a mindset thing that you're wanting to work on, it can take a while, and that's okay. That's okay at the end of the day. You didn't get to where you are over the last, you didn't get to where you are in just a couple of weeks or a couple of months with your mindset. You didn't get to a really bad place if you're in a really bad place. It happened over years and years and years. And so it might take years and years and years to get through that shit, but it will be worth it. It will be 100% worth it. So I hope that this was helpful. Because at the end of the day, like all of these things it's not a race, right? It's not a sprint. It's a marathon, right? This is a lifestyle shift that we're working on. This is something that we're trying to build into our lives and just turn it into an existence, right? We're trying to turn it into our new normal. And so just give yourself the time, give yourself the space. Don't try to rush it, right? Try to do it the right way, because it's not a matter of how fast you can get there. It's a matter of how it's a matter of actually getting there and then actually being able to stay there and maintain there and keep your progress at the end of the day. So I hope that this is helpful. At the end of the day, I appreciate you guys for watching. And your journey is your own. It's you versus you. Don't compare yourself to other people's journeys, because they may be on chapter 20 while you're on chapter 2, and it's not even the same fucking book. So yeah, Hope you guys get value from that. Let me know your number one takeaway in the comments down below. Feel free to give this video a like. Helps other people see it. Feel free to share it or tag anybody that you want to tag. Join our free Facebook group. Yeah, join our free Facebook group. Also, there's a link in my bio. It's been growing. We've gained like 30 or 40 members in the last couple of weeks. So shout out to you guys for joining, showing up for yourself. And yeah, other than that, I got to let you guys go because I actually have a doctor's appointment in 15 minutes I have to go to. So I'm going to talk to you guys later. Bye.